Hi there, welcome to Ethereum Wyckoff Weekly. We're looking at the Ethereum weekly chart, and before getting into the details, as usual, these sessions are not financial advice, they are for education and research purpose only. However, your comments and discussions are very welcome, so feel free to let me know what you think about Ethereum. So, back to the chart. Previously, we have put in this automatic rally tag over here. I did mention, because we're still in the process of confirming the accumulation cycle. So these orange tags are accumulation cycle. The blue ones are distribution cycle for the people that are new to these sessions. And over the past 2 weeks, like from this long candlesticks to the similar to more or less like the red cross over here, and this week's green cross still is not over yet. There's still 25 hours for it to turn into a red cross. That's still possible, so be careful with that. The story is telling us, like these three candlesticks over here, there is significant selling force above the current level 2500, because for the first candle up, the second red candle last week, and this week's candle, so these two closed at that level, and this week's candle seems to be closing at that level as well. So that means there are quite a number of people selling at that level. So that's probably what I'm trying to say is this automatic rally is probably going to finish over here. It's not equivalent to saying it's going to be like finish without coming back up. If we look at this distribution, this accumulation cycle, yeah, it took 5-6 weeks to reach the top for the automatic rally from the selling climax, and then eventually come down, but immediately returned and have another test or rally, depending on how you want to name it. And then of course there are more tests to the downside, and eventually it returns to show sign of strength again, with a little bit of adjustments or like the final supply, and then boom, that's the new distribution cycle. So again, these three orange tags I put in here tentatively. It looks like it's still consistent with the story at the moment. There's another version I want to share with you as well. What if these three orange tags aren't what we think they are, and we haven't seen the selling climax yet? What would the picture be then? So this would probably not an AR, but instead an LPSY, even though it doesn't look like that it is. I'm still more inclined to what tags I'm putting in right now, given the price levels compared to what we've seen over here, basically from 2021 onwards. So if it comes down and like say goes lower than the selling climax over here, it's going to be like some, you can call it second test or test. They're all test. However it's named. It's basically testing the market's confidence or demand with this asset. So it doesn't matter how we name it, it's going to be some tests over here. So that's the point, and we'll see those tests coming, and those may be assuming Ethereum is going to stay there, going to be lasting forever in this world. Then you can see from, or by referencing the 2022-23 cycle, those are the time or the best time to enter the market, like looking back to the history. So if it's going to repeat and the price come back down to somewhere around mid 1000, like 1500 or like 1200 for the extreme case, then that's probably a good time to enter. But the caveat is you have to wait for like an entire year or even like a year and a half for the price to reach let's say from this second test to the buying climax. It took 518 days, so basically, like I said, a year and a half roughly to get to that point. So if you are trying to capitalize by making this trade, long-term trade, you have to wait for like over a year. But the thing is, from the second test level to the buying climax level, we're talking about 230% increase in price. So give and take, if you're an active trader, a day trader, obviously this is not for you. But if you're more like a long-term trader, longer-term trader, and you don't have that much time to look at the market, like keep trading and setting stop loss, those stuff, and like calculating all those transaction fees, all that, this may be the strategy for you as a if you like to call yourself a swing trader or like a long-term holder, whatever you name yourself. However, the behavior is that like longer trades, it's very long trade, to be honest, a year and a half. Likewise for here, from the selling climax in 2019 to the buying climax to 2021. Isn't drawn correctly. One more time. Let me drag the chart to here. This one was even longer. It was 800, almost 900 days. So it's over 2 years, almost 3 years. So I think the cycle will be shorter now, given like more people knowing crypto, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, and both of these tools, these big tools, are listed in a lot of exchanges, regulated exchanges, both digital asset exchanges and also traditional stock exchanges as ETFs. So I think the cycles would be much shorter than like when it was like at early infancy during like 2017, 18, all the way to 2020. So regarding the big picture, that's pretty much the key point I brought up in the beginning. A lot of selling force at the level above 2500. And if we look at the daily chart, even though it has broken outside of the white zone, it still was being suppressed and being traded at the lower half or lower section of the short-term playground zone, the pink zone over here. I think I have mentioned about this pink line in my last week's session. So this is basically a resistance line or a mid line of this box. It doesn't have to be like exactly half. How I draw this line, or how I determine where to draw this line, is by looking at the past, near-term past trading activities. So these were the activities that lead me to draw this line over here. So you can see this current surge in the price it's still being suppressed under this line. So it's a very strong reference point. And well, if people have been trading the playground zone, if they bought somewhere here and the stop loss helped them profited from here, and then they re-entered somewhere here and then they profited again, it's already 2 trades for whoever that's like trading more frequently. But that's it for like rumbling. But remember, each of these cryptos are pretty much at their own phase, and the trading volumes are telling us, even though there seems to be some people buying, there seems to be equal amount of people selling when it reaches the price level around 2800. So be careful for what's coming in the next few weeks. I've mentioned the reasons in the Bitcoin session, so you can go take a look at that. Thanks for joining me. I'll move on to Solana next.